Welcome to another Beyond Bitcoin Whaletank. Today is Friday, August 25th, 2017, and this is episode 221. We're joined, as always, by various people who are interested in the crypto sphere and adding a tokenization and gamification element to the cool things that they're doing so they can enable an economic empowerment to build new and cool things in this thing that we call the Internet of Things that is growing around us. We are Beyond Bitcoin, and we have been here for a long time talking about precisely the use cases that go beyond Bitcoin. And we have a community of people who are so deep in various niches within this community and cryptocurrency in general and the new economy that they can be considered experts in their own right to a large degree. This is very early in the technology, but we enable people who are interested in these various projects to be able to join up and talk about them. So if you are somebody who has a project that you would like to talk about what you're doing, you're more than welcome to RSVP on our official Fuzzy blog, where you will see a Whaletank RSVP thread. When you do this, ask people to upvote you. Pass out your link to the RSVP thread and have your fans or your project community, those who are passionate about what you do, have them upvote you. And this will help to establish the order of precedence for these Hangouts. In addition, we have something called power-ups that we are now using your tokens for. So there are a couple little rules that we have added to the Hangouts. And one is that everybody will have we'll start out with 15 minutes to talk. But if you would like to buy an extra 5 to 10 minutes, you can share drop your token onto the guest list. And if the guest list, the people who sign the guest list, approve of your token share drop and everybody's cool with it, we will give extra time to you, up to a 10-minute maximum. We will also enable you to help improve your chances to be first, second, or third in these Hangouts, in the order of these Hangouts, based on whether you have a bunch of upvotes from people, based on the amount that you get. But you can power up that and double it in effect for the order of precedence by using your posting, the key or the link to your coin on the BitShares exchange. After this, we're going to have, at the end of the Hangout, I choose to give out tokens to various projects. But I always choose to give 1,000 Beyond Bits to the topic of the week that I prefer to give some extra tokens to. If you believe that you are in a position where you have been overlooked wrongfully, you're more than welcome to leverage your token to try to get me to change that 1,000 Beyond Bits distribution. And you will have a 7-day period to be able to do this. So with that said, the order of precedence that has been established today for today's Whaletank Hangout is, first it's going to be Purity, and that's going to be Forrest Willie, followed by the Marky Mark, and he's in Project Build a Whale, followed by Nutella, who's going to be talking about translations and a few other cool things that he's doing in the Steemit ecosystem and beyond. Bethelia also is going to come on and talk about community casinos. Now, I will say this, we are creating whale tokens now for a select few whales. If you have a whale who is interested in having their own token created, feel free to contact me and also let them know that they're more than welcome to create a token and join the Whaletank as one of the whale reps. You have to have a whale token, and I can give details behind the scenes for it early on. It is not open for everyone. It's open by invite. So join up, message me at beyondbitcoin@gmail.com if you have an interest or a whale who is interested in being on the Whale Council and or having their own tokens. So with that said, we will go ahead and open it up for the Forest Willie, aka Purity, and Crypto Hippie. Would you like to, aka Crypto Hippie? You have three names here. Would you like to talk a little bit about any updates on the Purity project? And you have 15 minutes to go.
Hello, hello. Yep. So start 15 minutes now. So yeah, we've been very busy at Purity right now, and part of that is getting ready for the crowd sale that's coming up. That will start on October 4th. That will be available to everybody, and it will end on November 2nd. And then I also have some updates on things that we're currently working on, which are also pretty exciting. So one of those is pure identity, is what we're calling it. And so a big problem, and these are all things that we've created because we're creating an activity network, and in order to do that you need a list of different services that you can provide to the users. So one of those is pure identity, and so that's going to be basically a service that provides login and identification for on and off the blockchain. So I'm sure you guys have been paying attention to all of the things that are going on right now that are about proving identity and putting identity on the blockchain, and we don't necessarily want to put your identity per se on the blockchain, but create an identity and prove that that's you. Or that you own the identity. Right, exactly. So that's one of the big things that's going on in the blockchain world right now, and even people as far as or organizations as far as governments are trying to figure out how to do that. And so how we do it is something that you would have to talk to Bren more about. He's definitely the technician, so I can't go too deep into him. I would say that it's like proving that you own any address, which you can do on any blockchain, you know. Basically encrypt your private keys, and you can prove that you own an address by doing that. So anyways, the next one that I wanted to jump to is pure image service. So this is like to upload, manage, edit, transform, resize all images, all the selfies. You can definitely manage and switch up all the sizes for all your images, but that's a hosting service basically, and Purity will offer that to its users, and because that is users are going to want to post images, and so that's a service that we are working on right now. The other one is a distribution. So this is a tokenized content distribution network, and this service, so basically it's content storage. So this is how we're going to store content throughout the blockchain. And so certain peer servers are going to be able to say, all right, well, I want to just dedicate my computing resources to something like peer image, because it doesn't have to be super fast, but it has to be reliable, and you don't need a crazy internet connection to provide that. So that was another thing that's being worked on. Also, Pure Storage. Pure Storage is a service for either like or encrypted data and storing that. And Pure Storage, you can also retrieve data. And so these are things that you can lend your compute resources to. And another one is Pure Content, and that's basically building off Pure Storage. It's a headless content service for building your own content management system. So this is going to enable communities to host their own content. So that's one of the big things with Purity. So we're going to have all sorts of communities, and each community is going to want to host it or host their content in different ways. And so that's what Pure Content is about. Next up, we got Purity Private.
Real quickly, is there going to be private economic models between each community for this, or is it going to be something that's going to be based all across Purity?
So there's like I'll call it a blanket economic model, is because it covers all of the different communities, and then inside of that, people create communities that can figure out their own ways of building their content management systems. So is there going to be so it will kind of work like that. And so there's different economic models within each community.
Perfect. Okay, well, now I'll go ahead and I'll step back and let you continue with the Pure Private. See, I'm sorry about that.
All good. So that's no, man. Feel free to ask any questions anytime. And yeah, Purity Private is a service that hosts community under your own domain name. So you can have your own domain name for your community, so that it maybe doesn't necessarily look like, we're trying to make this look in a way however the communities want to design it. And Purity Private is going to allow domain names for just that. So yeah, so that's one more cool thing that we got going on. And then we have the Pure Notary. It's a service for writing data to the blockchain as a form of notarization for documents and like other digital assets. So, you know, you'll be able to again prove that you own certain assets or certain digital documents of whatever that may be. That may be content, that may be a token, and so that's one other thing that we've been working on. Pure Fund is the next one, and Pure Fund is going to be like the crowdfunding portion of Purity. So one of the big things that we wanted to do, or that we set out to do from the beginning, was have crowdfunding. And so you're going to be able to use, well, you or communities are going to be able to use the Purity token to raise money for whatever you want to raise money for. We're trying to kind of allow people the benefits of having an ICO, but not just for crypto projects. We want to money for all sorts of things. Say if you're a band on Purity and you have a bunch of followers that love your music, well, you might want a new album or tour, and they can crowdfund that, or they can crowdfund art from somebody. They can crowdfund somebody teaching a class on how their community works. It's there's a lot that can be done. So yeah, those are the things that we've been working on, aside from all of the other things that are going on, which is a lot of marketing. Today we actually just hired a new marketing guy that's going to help us with our get all geared up for the ICO here, and it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be. I can't wait for Purity to be up and running. I'm not talking about the ICOs. Well, yes, the ICO is gonna be a good one as well, but Purity as a whole is going to be awesome. And one more thing that I forgot to touch on that I wanted to bring up as well is, you know, Brent's had this idea. So we've been dealing with Ethereum because that's how we're still built on Tendermint, but our crowdfund token is going to be an ERC20 token. So he's been looking a lot into smart contracts and how they run and how confusing to the average person they are. And we want to make that something that's more simple and something that communities can use. Communities they're going to have a ton of different options, but if one of those could be writing smart contracts, which it looks like it will be, I think that empowers community in a huge way. Not only just the fact that they can use smart contracts, but that they can understand them, because a lot of people and new people, and a lot of the people that we're kind of targeting for this, they're not coders, and so easy for everybody to understand and use. So we're calling that the smart contract portion of it. We're calling that Handshake, and I think that could be a really big thing. A simple, smart contracting language and system for people to use. So, yeah, I'll open that up to questions. We're also, just to be real quick, we've been working on getting listed on ICO websites, getting different listings up, and I think we're going to do a 2-part crowdfund as well. We realize that we don't need ding. Okay. So we realize we don't need much or as much money to get the product out, so we're going to do a smaller crowdfund, and then once we have something, do a bigger crowdfund, and that will be where we really build the site out more and more. So we just want to do a smaller one for the beta. So sounds like time's up.
Yes, it
but
is.
Thank you, everybody. Sounds like it's beyond up. So yeah, thank you guys, everybody. And anybody has questions, you can always reach us at the Discord. I can post a link here in a minute. And yeah,
That's Purity Discord?
That is correct. Purity Discord. And yep, and then you can also email me at forrest@purity.io, or any of the other team members at their first name at purity.io. So, or info@purity.io. So I don't want to take up everybody's time.
Well, I'll go ahead and I will say that you guys finished it looks like you finished the crowdfund largely, but there are some still up on the market on the BitShares exchange that people can buy into the peer crowdfund tokens, and it looks like there are people trading them on the market as well on there. So if anybody wants to join up and do that, that is actually open for trading. Now, really quickly, one of the questions that did come from the community members is about the private crowdfund to Beyond Bitcoin listeners. Is it completed? Just a quick yes or no will help.
No. That is still open, and contact me if you want to get involved, because that closes another week.
Okay. And how much is left? Because it was pretty close to done the last time I checked with you.
Yeah, I believe we did 2 million tokens, and we're probably 3/4 of the way through. I might be wrong.
And then whenever you guys list on ERC20, that's when you guys expect a lot more funds to come in. So you guys are giving them all a deal. And I will go ahead and I'll say thank you for joining up this week. Obviously, you guys are always more than welcome to give out tokens to increase time. But I believe that you guys are in a situation right now where you cannot do that. So is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, you guys have done a lot, so I'm not trying to pressure you into it or anything. I just wanted to kind of clear that up for everybody, why you're not getting extra time, because this is a topic you brought a loaded amount to talk about today, and you will probably have multiple sessions that can be filled up with community questions in the coming weeks, and I look forward to it, man. And I've been I've enjoyed working with you guys and talking to you guys about stuff too. You guys really are thinking along the same
we've
lines.
Enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure. Just one more thing real quick. The token is, if you buy it from the pre-crowd sale for the Beyond Bitcoin community, you can buy it at 15 cents. And the last week they're going to be going up to uh, 30 or 40. So we haven't decided yet, but it's a great deal for you guys right now. So reach out.
About Project Build a Whale. All right, well, up next is going to be the market. I will thank Purity, and I'll say that they were the ones who posted their coin this week, and they got upvoted. They got to #1 prior to that, but they very much got a solid first place because of it. Next is going to be the Marky Mark, and he's working on Project Build a Whale. So go ahead and step up to the plate, buddy, and let everybody know, if you can, a quick, just a very quick, short overview of what it is, and give some updates on what you're wanting to talk about today.
All right, can you hear me all right?
Perfectly.
Awesome, because I'm on the road here. So Build-A-Bear, doing the Build-A-Bear that it keeps saying that. Build-A-Whale is a voting bot. That's how it started, and we added a curation and human aspect to it, where anything that gets bidded on can become curated and show up in our daily digest. And we just released the 9th issue, I believe, is what Chief put out this morning or earlier yesterday. So we've been doing daily digests that goes over what people have submitted and picks the best content. We're looking at expanding that out. We have over 1,000 organic upvotes for that content so far in just under 2 weeks. So that's been picking up. We just hit over 300 followers for the Build a Whale. Our biggest thing right now is to find a sponsor, which I have somebody that might be interested, but we're working it out. We're trying to get to 100,000 to 500,000 team power, so we can have a much bigger reward pool and take on a lot more people and expand it out to more digest and do a lot more with that. And that's our biggest hurdle right now, is to overcome. The other thing I'm working on is some gamification bots that will take advantage of playing games and prediction models and stuff like that will either happen through comments or through a different channel, to allow people to participate in that as well, which is pure gameplay. If Chief has anything else to say, I was going to open it up to questions.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about what we would do with the 1,000 Beyond Bit if we got it, and then also some information about the Curation Digest. First, we have, like you said, done 9 issues, but it's actually been 14 pieces of content from those issues. About issue 4, we went into 2 parts to give the authors 24-hour exposure. So we do it every 12 hours, and we're doing this so that the authors, the first part is just kind of a quick knowledge bug nuggets. It's what the other guilds do. So we basically do exactly what the guilds do for the first part. And then the second part, we actually give the feedback, comprehensive feedback that people want. You know, like 3-4 paragraphs that people, you know, the feedback they really want in part 2. So it's been, you know, we got a lot of awesome comments. People are staying on Steam It just because of us. That feels good, because I know that happened with certain people when we started writing too. So it's definitely good to see the cycle. The one thing we do for the 1,000 Beyond Bit is, right now, you know, it's cool that it's just getting started, but the articles that we nominate, it'd be nice to be able to use Beyond Bits to vote on them. You know, some of them are older posts, which is cool because we're not focused on the curation posts. Any person from you know, post can be old as long as that person wants support. But we want to use these Beyond Bits to maybe vote on their current articles, or if they're still available to vote on, do those vote on them with the Beyond Bits. Because what we're doing is, I'll talk about a little bit more about points in Community Casino, but we're going to introduce points with Build a Whale. So the people that appear in these digests will get points. And we want to tie the points to Beyond Bit, at least use these 1,000, maybe, you know, 1 point equals 3, you know, Beyond Bit or something like that, until we get it listed, and then we can just go from there. So that's what we would use the 1,000 Beyond Bit for. We would use it to reward the articles right now by voting on them, and then we would also use it to start the points and get them used to it by tying them to it before they can get it listed on BidShares.
So are you guys, everything is getting built to automate this stuff, or are you guys going to be doing this manually?
The one thing about, well, I guess we can talk more about the digest. That's why we're kind of doing two parts as well, as we're getting the readership ready for more than one article from Build-A-Ware account. The goal is to do 8 to 12 articles a day from the Build-A-Ware account, but we just need the bidding window to go up. So we already are about 4 days behind in curation. We have too many articles to curate. So we're just waiting. We don't want to grow too much demand. So that's why we're kind of waiting for the next sponsor, the next bump up, to expand to different curations. So we're gonna have a crypto curation digest every day. So it'll be for the 5 top articles there. And then we're also gonna, have all the major tags. And what Marky Mark's doing is eventually we have a bot working that will just scan the transfer list of Build-A-Whale according to the tags, and then just send it to the right curators. So like the music, any article coming in with music will go to the music curator right in that digest. Same with tech. So we know this is only our second week, but we've done a lot of good. But we definitely want to automate it as much as possible as well to help with efficiency.
Yeah, and you guys are saying one of the reasons I'm bringing it up is because you're saying when it's listed, like whenever you create the token on BitShares, I'm assuming.
Yep, that's the goal.
Okay. Well, before I go any further, because I have so many questions I can get into, does anybody have any questions or comments from the community? Okay. Where I'll go with this is this. I'm interested in curation and seeing these different experiments. What have you guys figured out as far as how you're going to get income from it? Is it going to be something like just from the bidding? And maybe you guys can give us some information on the bidding if that's going to be the sole. Well, either way, really. If that's going to be the manner of it receiving income.
Marky, you want to talk about the bot bidding window and then possibly the trail?
So what we're doing is the bidding is what keeps the bot with a steam power, and right now it's right around break even or a little less, depending on what we're going to renew at and whatnot. So that's just keeping it having a valuable service for the people that are looking for immediate pleasure. The next part of it is the curation aspect. If you look at other curation like OCD, for example, they pull in 3 figures on their daily digest. And we're hoping to start growing that part, so that's bringing enough revenue to support that part of it in the curators and make everyone happy for that part. And then we're looking at building a trail that will follow the people that are curated. So we'll vote on it, and we'll have a trail operator that'll start the trail. And then we want to get people on board to start following that trail to give more exposure and more benefit to people that are curated, but also to bring in curation rewards and stuff like that and build a revenue model from that.
Okay, so one of the things that I'm kind of asking and I'm trying to figure out is, do you have like a model to project income from this? And the hard thing is to model it against something that already has a lot of steam power delegated to it. And the reason I ask is not because I don't want to give tokens to it. It's more, am I giving tokens to it when it's not going to be able to turn them around and really capitalize on them, as well as maybe if it was doing something else, which also brings me to wanting to talk about the gamification aspects that you're bringing in and how that might be able to make money. But I'll go ahead and I'll let you answer the first question before I dig into everything else.
I think with a large amount of steam power that the bot will start making profit and start doing well with the curation rewards, because the amplified voting power will increase the curation rewards significantly. Right now, we're making $4 to $6 a day curation rewards, which helps get the break-even point and handle the cost of the steam power, which is the biggest hurdle. And I'm trying to find a private sponsor that can do it outside of the leasing we're currently doing, especially since Middle Boost had just jacked up their prices 33%, and Smooth is very inflexible to deal with. He doesn't want to do anything outside of it. He doesn't want to spend time talking. I have a few other people that I'm looking at that I'm trying to get a dialogue open with. Some people, for example, that are self-voting and like destroying their reputation. At least this way they can get some revenue and not have to have any effort involved and not damage the community by doing what everyone's frowning upon. The next
Hey, Mark,
part
Mark, how much are we making per day?
it ranges anywhere from 20 to 36 for the bot plus curation rewards. On the bad days, it's in the teens to 20. On the good days, it's in the mid 30s, and then you have another 3 to 6 on curation rewards. I think one day we had like 3.5 because we got a D2 video that was actually curated, which pulled in a big $2 curation reward. And the interesting thing about curation rewards is it's really funny because I've had a few people that have bid 10 cents, in some significant cases 50 cents, and it pulled in $1.50 curation reward because the post then grew up and did pretty well. So those are really nice, and that helps a lot too as well. But on average, we're looking at about 3 to 6, mostly around the 4.5 range per day in the curation aspect. And if we go with the steam power we're looking at doing, which is 100,000 minimum, ideally 500,000, looking at 5 to 25 times that. How much do you give out per day in funds to post? Right now, we're not doing any. We were posting a lot of Beyond Bits on the initial week to get exposure, and now we've been trying to grow it organically.
Oh, I mean the actual earnings that cumulative earnings across all of the upvotes that you guys give out and all that stuff.
Oh, how much we're giving out to the end users?
Yeah.
So far, we haven't been doing a lot. We've been handing out some Beyond Bits. Chief has been doing that, and I've been upvoting anybody that comes through and whatnot. But right now, it's been just exposure, just because we don't have the steam power and the resources to make a significant difference there.
Basically, using those, we want to use those upvotes eventually from Builderware account to reward it. But we can't do that right now because it'll throw out the bidding window because of how small the window is. So once we get more steam power, then we don't have to worry about that, and we can use the actual voting to reward people as well. But we need this 1,000 to kind of prove it to the whales and the people, get through that to the next point. And I mean, the authors are really getting a lot of benefit already from the feedback, but it would be nice to give them some rewards too, because a lot of the stuff they write is epic.
The goal is to have 2 accounts. Build a Whale is doing the automation and doing the bidding window, and any votes or anything that's done by that account would affect the end user product, and that's why we don't want to use that as a reward system. So what I want to do is have another account that can follow it, either be the trail operator that has steam power tied to it, kind of like Acidio does, and some other things, and that will be what starts the trail, but it also has some steam power to make a significant difference. So it's not just saying, hey, here's a 0-cent upvote.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
I think a lot of people have been really happy just being featured because it's increased exposure. Some of the articles we looked at have gained significant upvotes and views when they're exposed through this. And a lot of people are starting to read this. We're getting a lot of organic upvotes, not the trail or paid upvotes. Some of the posts have had 130 upvotes, and I would say about 10 of those were me bidding on them through bidding bots or providing things, but the rest of them were all organic. Hey, that's great idea, cool content type of upvotes, and not the, hey, this is going to be financially profitable, let's upvote it.
I don't know exactly. How do you guys measure that?
You really can't, but we look at the comments. Like some of the ones have had like 50 comments on it and a significant dialogue going on. And it's not just.
So you can see that there's a large heart. It's not just a bunch of bots that are following you.
Yes.
And saying, because man, I'll tell you right now, I get those all the time, and it's so frustrating.
One thing I notice is, oh, sorry.
No, please go. One
thing I notice is a lot of the in the bidding window that I look through the transfers and stuff, I see a lot of the same people reusing the service. There's a significant group of people, I would say at least 20 that I know by heart, maybe 30, that use it on a daily basis. And some use it for quite a few times a day. So it's not something that people are using once and then forgetting about it. And there's a few people that are saying that this is their favorite bot, and because we're human and we respond. Like you take Rando Whale, Eddie Pot, Belly Rub, any of those, and you do anything with them, you've pretty much thrown it in a black hole, and you just hope for the best. But we've been responding and talking to people, and I have this like little meme I'm trying to start with the plush whale that I post on when people post certain things. I'll post a specific picture of a whale that you can actually have designed on Etsy. It gives you the plans, and I thought it was cute, and I was trying to start that type of little symbolism.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm interested in hearing more about this. You guys are at about 17 seconds left. Is there anything that, if people want to help or participate in this project in any way they can reach out to you to do so?
Discord is probably the best bet to get a hold of me, and then we can talk about any other way. We have a Build a Whale Discord, and then we also have, we're on Whale Shares a lot. I can post a link for the other Discord that we have that we're running, and it's a public Discord. People can join in the channel.
And if you kind of want to see the impact we're having, just read any of the comments on the Curation Digest or any of the articles we nominate, and that's really all you need to see.
Yeah, people have been really expressive about it, which is awesome. And one last thing to answer your question about the gamification, I don't have anything ironed out that I can talk about, but one of the things would be a prediction type of thing where people can predict things, and then there's a pool that they get rewarded off of.
That's
and
really
then
cool.
I want to have this automated through either through like a bidding system where they can bid into it, and then it cuts out that way, or through comments where people can do public bids that way, and they'll automatically go through the comments and handle it that way. Kind of like how Community Casino does their hand, where they post in the comments and they go through each week and go through them. So I want to build a system that processes comments and do that type of thing to automate that and add some different games that way.
Sounds cool. We can definitely talk a little bit more during the after party, and then also in other hangouts to come. I'm very interested in what you guys are doing. I would like to figure some more stuff out that I don't think that we have quite time to talk about today, but I will say one thing. I really hope that you guys consider the potential of using a coin to maybe even crowdfund to get SP. There's a lot of cool things that can be done, and I notice that you guys are both pretty big thinkers about this stuff. So it's good to see that, and it's good to see that you guys are trying some new things and that it's gaining some traction. Maybe a crowdfunder is a way of leveraging people's unwillingness to do anything unless it's for money, to get them to consider joining up and being part of it. Maybe even being able to earn those tokens by delegating Steam Power instead of buying things with them. But I won't get too deep into it because we've passed the 15-minute mark. However, I will say thank you for joining up, and I will gladly talk with you guys about this stuff. And yeah, after Tella, who's going to be talking about go ahead and some of the stuff that he's doing in Steam It and Descent. And also he's talking about some cool things about the translations and of the content that we produce, and also to get text translations of it and actual English text as well, from various audio content. So with that said, I'll go ahead and I'll ask Nutella, are you available to talk?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. So what I'll do is I'll step back. I'll let you give kind of a quick summary, and then any updates, and open to community questions if you have time that you'd like to put to that.
Yeah, sure. So I will explain some stuff because the translation was a bit mystifying to me. With the translation, I think Quasi means translating the voices you hear right now into text. Right, Quasi?
Yeah, turning it from audio into text.
Yeah, so right. So the thing is, it started actually that if you have a lot of content, big content like audio, like the Whaletank itself, then it's like hard to navigate through it and see. There are now chapter markers, so nothing. You can split files, maybe, but so I thought, like, well, why not upload it to YouTube and get their automatic captioning service to translate for us. So I did some background checking, like what would be the best way. So I made a technical proof of concept, which actually basically listed all the known services up to a point, like all the free ones, and I made a post about that one. So let me see if I can copy it here and paste it into the channel. Yeah. So yeah, well, with that said, it was actually very easy to just grab the audio, which I'm recording as well now, and put it to YouTube. There's a special way to do it on a command line with FFmpeg. FFmpeg is sort of like a Unix tool, like when you have DOS or Linux or even macOS terminal. You can just copy paste actually the code, you know, and then you see like minus input, like -i, and then you put your audio file into that, and then -i for the image. And with one line of code, you can make a movie out of the output from the Whaletank, right? The audio, and so you don't have to like do any editing. Which is actually better if you don't do editing, because as it is, YouTube doesn't make any punctuation, so you cannot see immediately where the sentence starts and where it ends. So that's pretty. Like I'm saying right now, like I'm this, I'm that, then you actually can listen to that, or you can, in theory, if YouTube would like give us some markers, like this or that, then you can say, here's another, the start of another sentence, right? Well, if you do your best, then you can really make a good transcript out of it, which is the ultimate goal, right? Because transcripts can be navigated. If you have live transcripts, maybe you've seen Coursera, the site where you can learn all kinds of topics, machine learning and all that sort of. So they have these videos and they have live transcripts, so you can see what's being said right now, and you can click on the words if you haven't understood, and it's really great. So that's like a possible future project. Let's see what I've written something down. Like I said, you could have like time markers, then you can jump to a particular topic, and so you don't have to edit audio. You can have segments, and you can also, if you post it on Steemit, you can put links to other posts for other segments of the Whaletank, so people quickly can jump from one project to another. If they want to invest or keep track of all the project, because the information is going really, really fast. So let me see, I covered that. To be really clear, the thing is, you have a lot of high quality content, which takes a lot of time to do. And I, for myself, in the first period being on Steam, haven't seen like really good rewards, and I really put a lot of time in it. And I can imagine a lot of people have that too. It's much easier to upload a video, and you will see like the text coming out of the video is massive. It's huge, and to edit that is also a huge amount of work. So the idea was actually to think about other time windows for curating. Some content is really like for like a Wikipedia article or something which is more lasting than a blog post, and thus if you put a lot of time in it, then you need actually like more time to earn some curation awards, because like me, I've also a lot of the time then something pops up and you think, oh, that's great information, right? and you see that's the creation period is already gone, you know, and you think like, oh damn, they put so much time in it, and you cannot even upvote it anymore. So so with that, I crunched out a huge idea, like, oh, we can have tracking the content, and you can do this with digital fingerprinting, blah blah blah. And then I went looking, and I found actually a project which will implement all that. And it's amazing, you know. Well, we first have to see what's going to be implemented. Like, we've just heard Purity, and when I hear Purity, I think like, wow, it's so much. How can you guys like do all of that? Like, first wait and see, right? So, but I found like actually a project called Decent. It's written like decent, DECENT. And they have offices in Armenia and Slovakia, which is like close by, and they have also offices in Zurich, and I think in another country. I don't know from my head right now. But I wrote to Slovakia, but because it seems like the biggest development team is there. And I asked him like, hey, I'm writing on behalf of the Steam community. As you know, this is partly built on the same technology, graphene. I have this post. I'll post a link in the message channel right away. But so the question is, how can you make more money? Because 7 days being a musician and you have a new track, you cannot make money, right? So and they reacted on it, and they said like, "Hey, that's really cool. You should come on by, and thank you very much for contacting us, and we can schedule a Skype call. We agree better to cooperate than to compete, and considering the geographic proximity, I think it's the best we meet personally. Would you be available for a meeting in Bratislava in the following 2 weeks, right?" So I was like, yay, that's like pretty cool. And I'm copying also Maciej Boda, CMO and founder, and Martin Smolka, the head of project development. So cool updates, right? So with that said, I've already tried to do a lot of proof of concepts with regarding adding some value to like the whale shares and did some like what Fuzzy meant translation. So I basically edited the transcripts. I made sentences out of it, and it's a huge amount of work. So I'm looking at more automatization, which I already like partially did. And so what I then did was to there's now the truth about vaccines going on, and they have subtitles which you can download with, for example, with YouTube DL, YouTube minus DL. So if you use that, you can download subtitles, which you cannot do for the automatic ones, unfortunately, but there's ways around that too. So what I did, I downloaded the subtitles, I mangled them through some Unix tools like SED and stuff I found on the internet, and then I get really nice transcripts out of it. So if we get better tools or we find better tools like YouTube, and which can actually make sentences, I can really quickly make a post out of it, and of course I will show everybody how I do it, so that people, so we can really build the Steemit experience, and later on also host elaborate content like these audio files, not only on SoundCloud and YouTube, but on really decentralized platforms like Decent and perhaps Peerly.io. With that said, there's of course a big problem, like who's going to pay and how is the funds being transferred. If you have looked at DTube, which is very popular, I was pretty frustrated with DTube because I've uploaded a lot of videos and they just won't play back. So without any person to really contact, I contacted this I'm in danger guy, French guy, I think. There's an interview with Dan Dix and him also on DTube. So I tried to contact him, and finally we got to the point. Yeah, it doesn't support subtitles, right? So it's like useless to even try, and the video just won't load. But anyway, getting back to to actually the monetization and getting the funds and getting money to host the content and etc. So that will be a big part, and I would really like to have some input and some questions regarding the Decent team when I will interview them or speak about this over Skype at first, I think, or maybe I will contact them directly over phone and ask some basic stuff, so I'm prepared, so we can, like, I don't have to be there a whole week, but we can just talk about some ways to do this, to get sort of interfaces going on between, like, when you have BitShares, you can send some money directly from your Steemit wallet, right? But this should be like automatic. You click upvote and it should go somewhere, like it in the case of DTube. So yeah, that's basically the idea. I'm not sure, like, with the timing, because I have to go to the dentist in Holland, and I don't know if I have, like, money issues, but you know, the feeling I had with this whole community, with the Whaletank and all this, it's so great that I'm just going to do it, and we'll see how we end up. And this way is going very well so far. So yeah, thank you all. Let me see. Yeah, so one tidbit, funny thing I can mention before the ding comes. I tried to create my user initiated assets. So I sent all my dollars, like $80, to a Steam deposit I made on BitShares. So I was like, hey, why is it not coming? And I went through a post explaining how to do the transfer, and I just, like, stupidly changed it to Steam, and I was expected to get to receive dollars, the SBD, the Steam dollars on that account. So I used the code, the memo, and everything, and I was, like, wondering, why is it coming? So be careful about that. Double check what you're doing. So I still haven't made my user initiated assets on the BitShares platform. So that's kind of funny. I hope I will get my money back somewhere. I think, like, I think it won't be a big problem, but we'll see. Let me check if there's something else. I don't think so. Some questions you have for me?
Well, we're about a little bit. We just have a very few seconds left, but I will say this. What you're doing is cool. I'm very interested in the transcripts personally, and what you're doing with it is absolutely awesome. I appreciate the work that you've given me. The only reason you probably haven't received any tokens is because every time I try to put in your account name, I don't think I'm typing it in right, or it's just not showing up in BitShares. So I know I'm doing something wrong because I know you have one. But we can talk about that offline. I would like to help you and see where you take this. Obviously, I distribute tokens to everybody at these Hangouts, but before I get into that part and having everybody sign the guest list, can you tell everybody how they can contact you if they would like to work with you in any fashion?
Yeah, so they can contact me through Steemit. I'm also sometimes on Steemit chat, so you can mention me there and I will see it. My email address is 336915@protonmail.com. So that's actually a Fibonacci sequence, like 3 + 3 is 6, 6 + 3 is 9, and so on. So 336915 at protonmail.com. That's my email address. Yeah, I'm Nutella on Steemit. I'm also on Discord. I'm sure you'll catch me. I'm on Steemit a lot, so yeah.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, well, Dan always called it a good crab trap. and he designed a wonderful crab trap in Steam. I will not lie. If it's nothing else, I will say it's a beautifully designed little game theory model that just so happens to make people want to stick around. It sticks. So with that said, I appreciate you joining up, and I will definitely talk to you behind the scenes about some of this stuff. And also, this will be the time of the day when I give you guys all the guest book link to go ahead and fill out. And today's magic word is change, because we are changing the days of the weeks that we use, that we run our Hangouts. And that is going to be Saturdays at the same time, but we're going to change it to Saturdays instead of Fridays. So when you're, instead of watching your Friday morning or your Saturday morning cartoons, you should consider tuning in. No, it's change. Change is the magic word. Yes. And make sure that you're careful on your LTMs and stuff like that, because if you have an LTM, a lifetime membership to BitShares network, then you will get a lot more tokens that are distributed. And I'll also make this is a perfect time to let everybody know, the more that you promote our Hangouts and the RSVP posts for our Hangouts, and the more that we earn on those Hangouts, the more tokens I can in turn give away. So I always want to make sure that everybody knows that the more that we get paid on our upvote on our posts, a lot of that is not only going into building tools, but it's also going into helping upvote you guys and produce more tokens for you guys here within the Hangout. And this is just because I want to reward people who are helping, and I want to give different kinds of help that sometimes are based on performance in other ways, right? So the more earnings that we receive, the more tokens I distribute. And with that said, it's Nutella, you're saying how much more I give Beyond Bits based on the payout. So if I get $500, or if it's 500 upvoted to 500, that's the pot that I pass out. Sometimes I tend to pass out a little bit more just because I like all the people's projects who are joining up here, but it can't be always guaranteed unless we get good payouts.
I actually meant the lifetime membership on BitShares.
Oh, that changes based on the price, but I believe that it is somewhere around $150 right now. I might be off point on that though, because the last time I checked, it was somewhere around there. And things do change quite a bit in BitShares, pretty quick.
So, but how many tokens you get then more if you for the lifetime membership? That's my question actually.
Oh, it's actually, you get like 1/10 the amount of the tokens.
Like extra?
Well, no, lifetime membership. What I do is I split them in half. And generally what I do is I split them in half and then I pass them out to the lifetime memberships, like in a larger quantity. So like, let's say you don't have a lifetime membership. You'll tend to earn like, 1 token for every 10 that, who am I looking at? Talkinator has, because he's got a lifetime membership. Does that make sense? Like, he'll get 10, you get 1. I cut the groups up, essentially. And the groups that have, like, I put more tokens in the pool for the ones that have lifetime memberships. And the reason I do this isn't just to harm people. It's actually to help incentivize people to not come on here with sock puppets. Because let's face it, there are a lot of shady little people out there in this wild, wild west fantasy ride that we're running on, right? So we have to be careful that we don't enable people to come on here with a bunch of sock puppets, sign the guest list, and be like, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of tokens. If you're going to come on here, you're going to come on with 10 different sock puppets and sign up with every single one of them to get what somebody like Talkinator gets, if that makes any sense.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And we love you. I think I can speak for all of us.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I'm very corrupt, and I tend to take a lot of, I sell these tokens on the market for my own good, and I sell them to scammers and all kinds of stuff, and I'm an evil man, but I'm glad that somebody's doing something good with this stuff. Thank you very much for the kind words. Bethelia is up I will next. Say I appreciate what you guys are doing too, and it's very important to. I would like to just make it clear. It's very important that everybody maybe ask Bethelia some questions and consider her kind of an expert in the nonprofit space, because that's what she's been doing for quite a long time. And I don't mean to put you on the Bethelia, but I do like to tell people in these hangouts and who are listening to these hangouts, when somebody comes on with a lot of experience in an area that we could always use help in, because we're trying to find the middle ground between the analog world and the digital one that we're slowly moving into, right? And you people who are subject matter experts can help us transit it more smoothly, I think. So with that said, I will step back and I will say thank you for joining up, and please feel free to give your intro, give a little what you're doing, any updates, and open up for community questions.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Sweet. If anybody has questions about nonprofit, I mean, at least in the States, I'd be happy to help. It is what I'm doing like forever. So yeah, anyway. Thanks for that. We've been here a couple times now, so I think you guys understand our premise. We're a community casino. We're into having fun, but our purpose is giving back to our community. We are growing exponentially, which is super awesome. Weekly, we have already been running a Thursday poker tournament on lucksax.com. This week we started running a satellite tourney to earn a buy-in for our tournament, and I think we had like 20 people sign up for our satellite this week, so that was awesome. What else? We have partnered up with Voice Shares, who we met here, just like we did Build-A-Bear and Build-A-Bear. Oh my God, Build a Whale.
Yeah. That's you guys joking around. That's your fault, because you guys are the ones who are joking around like that in the background.
Oh, damn. Honestly, it's too much. Okay. Anyway, we love those people over there. They're amazing, and so they have been very awesome sponsoring our tournaments and all of our games. So that's awesome. We've also been talking with them about they want to start a web and have a space for us on there. So that could be great. We are in our third community poker hand, which is fun, and that one is up to, I think it's over 20 people are signed up for that one this week. And I'm hoping to roll out fantasy football next weekend. So I'm going to make a post about it for this weekend. And then next weekend, we're going to do a draft and start that one. We're on here because we really need sponsors. Right now, we're funding everything out of our own pockets. And I think I have like $7 whole SBDs left. So we're really hoping that we can get the win the Whaletank and sponsor more. So I don't know. You guys have anything else to say, Nick or Chief?
Nick, do you want to talk about how you give away points in your game?
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Well, I guess the idea, right now we're doing a leaderboard for the poker, community poker on Steam, the contest. And the idea would be to eventually use a token also to represent a leaderboard. And I believe Chief wants to work on that. So right now we're doing a leaderboard, so it's a week to week thing, so it makes it more interesting and keeps people playing. And this is just the first step of many that we have to come. Like I said in the weeks past, this is going to take a while, but the more support we can get, the bigger we can grow. And there's a lot of potential in what we want to do. And this is just the beginning stages to get some support. So if you guys, anybody's interested in helping and assisting or just playing, come check us out. You can always check out the post on at C Casino on Steemit. Eventually we'll have a website, and eventually we'll have an online casino, but it'll be down the road. But anyway, so yeah, points. Right now we're doing a leaderboard. I'm just trying to get it set up, hopefully automate it eventually. Still working on that stuff when I get some time. But we would like to get a points or point
Hey Nick, talk about how they call the game. Talk about how they call, like the points, like you get 1 point for call. Explain that.
Oh, okay. So basically in poker, every flop, the turn, and the river, and you usually have to bet or just check. So in this game, an upvote and a comment counts as a call. So what that does is helps build up a little bit of a pot and help pay back the fees that or the awards that I've been giving out. But we're doing for the leaderboard, each upvote or comment, which is a call, counts as a point. And then the winner gets a bonus points. And then anybody who also posts about the contests or about Community Casino gets bonus points too. And there'll be a rewards and hopefully a token and all that at the end for the winner. Anything else you wanted on that, Chief?
That's and then the points right now. The goal is to get the points as a token, and all the points earned right now can just be transferred. The goal with using the 1,000 is to put 250 towards the current games and 750 beyond it to the new game. For the 250 for the old games, the current games, would be on the comments to vote on different people's participation, and also to give people who do participate some extra rewards. The 750 would be to start the new game called People Poker, which is an astrology numerology game where people provide their birthdays, and then other people will provide their birthdays and kind of talk about their life, and then we provide information on a daily basis that will tell them who they actually should be hanging, with their life purpose. So what we're going to do with this is people are going to use the comments to kind of guess what other Steemians they should probably work with based off their intuition, or maybe based off research. So they'll do comments responding to our People Poker saying, oh, I think maybe Nick Noss would be a great person to work with because of this reason. And then we will actually, after the comments are posted, we'll have an update post with what the numerology, astrology, and what our experience with People Poker 30 years say, what people you should do. So we will reward the people that their intuition is correct with the Beyond Bits, kind of like a voting scale, and the people who are wrong, we'll still vote on, but we'll explain why they're wrong, or who they maybe should be based off astrology and numerology. It's like a science. It's just a new science, new age science, and so that the people, and also on here yeah, exactly, Nutella. But a lot of people don't want to get their information out because it's a blockchain, and maybe they might be afraid. So by putting your birthday up there, it's not too much information, but we want to reward the people with Beyond Bits that are involved with this, because finding out who you should achieve your life purpose with is kind of important, and we definitely would love to reward people to do that, because that only will inspire more change. Just how like you put on this Beyond Bitcoin, we never would have met all these people that we're doing stuff with. So we're just kind of keep that momentum going. So we would use the 750 Beyond Bit to start that new game, People Poker, and then the other 250 to keep the existing 2 games going. And then any other questions would be greatly appreciated.
I think that what will be helpful, because the terminology is so difficult for a lot of newbies to this. I know it's kind of difficult for me to follow because of the difference in terminologies, and I'm not let's just say this, I'm the worst gambler in the world. I'm not a good person to, like, I don't play poker, but sometimes sometimes you kind of have to almost have like an index where people can go through and they can go and look, I mean, a glossary of terms rather, where you go through and you read, this is the definition of this. This is the definition of this. Okay, now I know what they're talking about. But sometimes actually showing the actual process, like via screen captures, is something that can really improve people's understanding of this. And maybe posting something about that, like the screen captures, and then bringing that in here too, so people can watch it, would give people who are within the Hangouts, and even the ones who, you know, listen to the Hangouts, if you promote your Hangouts, your segment, and post that stuff in there with it, or just post that on the forums or on Steemit, you can get a little bit more traction that way and get it surrounding you, kind of experts in the process, as much as the definitions, which is kind of what you get for what you're going for anyway, right? The definitions are just a way that they can get there, like a way to understand it.
Yep, and usually, like you say, the gamification is the part that gets rid of the fear. Because I mean, it's really hard to meet people sometimes, and you know, tell them about your life stories and figure out your life purposes. So by getting this, you know, we kind of want to help that. But I think, like you said, we need to prove the concept, and I think that having some Beyond Bit will help that. We need to have a game. We need to have this numerology game going, and if we get, and using this to get, you know, we only have to use a few on each post to get to the hot page. So I mean, that's the goal, is to get to the hot page and then have it and actually participate in it. So that's what we would use it for. And then we want people to, we want to test this game out. We want people to, you know, see how it'll work out. So just like you said, by next Whaletank, we should have some screenshots if, you know, this, if everything works out, and we can have a little bit to use to prove this game, because it's kind of a, like you said, a hard concept and to understand. So we need to put it into action. So that would be that would definitely be a lot helpful with the Beyond Bits.
I wrote a how to play Texas Hold'em article. Can't find it right now, but I did write one to just kind of explain the, like you're talking about, the vocabulary involved.
Yeah, that's one of the things that holds back, because, you know, every area of expertise has its own, almost its own vocabulary. You have to learn before you can really go into the conceptual areas of whatever niche or area that you're going into, right? So that's just visualizing those things can sometimes help us overcome that, you know, the barrier of needing to learn all the words. If you can kind of just see it in action, might be one of the easier ways of getting people on board. But I'm very interested in how Beyond Bits would bring value to this, as far as, how would it sustain itself, and would it be something that Beyond Bits needs to be perpetually given? And do you have any numbers on that?
Well, the goal would be to not perpetually do it, just get it to the point where when we have this listed on BitShares, you know, because voice shares got tied to Beyond Bit, so obviously that we would like to tie this points to voice shares, whale shares, Beyond Bit, as many as possible to, you know, improve stability for the long term. So we would just use the ones you give us now to just kind of peg the points we give right now out, so that the people playing now have an idea. So like, say they do upvote and they get maybe 5 points, maybe that 5 points is worth 15 Beyond Bit that we pay them out. So they get exposed to Beyond Bit, they download their wallet, but they're also playing the game, and they're also earning points through upvoting and participating. So this kind of little investment would be to just get us to the point when points is listed, because we need to prove points as well. So this is kind of killing like 10 birds with one stone. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So the goal is just to get us to the point where it's listed on BitShares, and then it'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very interested in hearing about this, because one of the cool aspects of what Beyond Bits is doing, and why we're trying to get other people to create tokens, is we realized that we could create entire token markets between communities. That's why I talked in the earliest days of Steem about community coins and tag coins, and these concepts are something that I think that we can do, but there's definitely other things that that can be done with them. And each one of your use cases slightly uses a different, has a different way of using them, right? But it's a lot. I'll have to think about this one a little bit more, because I almost have to choose between some of your projects at present, because you guys have a lot of good ones. And let me ask you, how many tokens do you think you need right now? I mean, what would be a fair amount to get that accomplished?
For the new for this right now, community casino with the points.
Yeah.
Nick, how many participants do we have right now with the game, community game?
Active for this week, we have 23 so far, but it's not a
So we have about 28 to 30 in the weekly tournament, and the other tournament. So that would be probably about 60 people, but maybe some, are the same people. So maybe, only 250 to get started, maybe for a week or two. But ideally, the 1,000 would be able to get the people poker started, and also use it to get this started as well, to the next level. So.
And that would take you out how many weeks approximately for both of those to be able to show?
I would say you would it would be 2 weeks at the minimum to see real results, but you'll see some bigger results after 4.
Okay, and you're thinking how many? 1,000 total for 2 weeks?
For the month.
Oh, for the month. Okay. Well, I will definitely talk to you guys about all this stuff behind the scenes. However, is there anything else that you guys would like to bring up, or any community questions that I can ask questions all day, and I do tend to do that, but I also have to remind myself that there's a group of people here who are very competent in their own rights. So feel free, if anybody has any questions, comments, feel free to bring them up. This would be the time to do so.
Well, before we even ask questions real quick, I just want to thank Voice Shares for their support and sponsorship, and Fuzzy and you, everybody else who are here too, for all you guys' support. It means a lot to us. So thank you.
I greatly appreciate you guys. What we do is we want to help the projects, the builders in the ecosystem, right? We want to help them in a way where they can get at least what they need. Maybe not a whole lot extra, but if we're lean and we operate lean whenever we have abundance, then we're a lot more effective with what we have, right? And I'm learning along the way with you guys, so it's fair to say that you guys are teaching us things. Speaking of which, are you guys do you have any updates as far as the points? And well, I guess my biggest question is, what is the hurdle between you guys currently making the points and getting them out into the real world right now?
The biggest hurdle is that the points, POITS, which is the brand, is actually someone created it on BitShares already. So we've been trying to get a hold of them, or at least the team is, to see what we can do with that, regarding that. So we actually were also wanted to reach out to you and see if maybe you can reach out to that person as well, see if there's any synergy, because it doesn't look like there's anything going on with it. They just have the token created. But we're willing to do other, change it to point or whatever we need to do, or points with a Z. But we're waiting on that right now.
I was thinking the points with a Z too, but you gotta be careful. I wasn't gonna say it out loud. I was gonna whisper it to you. But,
yes.
Yeah, the reason I say this, and this is a lesson for everybody who's creating tokens, is there are people who like to go out and they like to sit on these different namespaces just like you would a domain. Yes, they would they call them squatters in this space, and it's like there's a show, a comedy show about fantasy football, and one of the guys got super rich because he went out and got Dallas Cowboys domain name, and they ended up paying him a couple $100,000 for it, and he gets rich in these kinds of ways. Like it's it's funny, but there are people who literally they'll go out and they'll find a domain, or in this case, a token on the BitShares network, and this is going to happen more and more as BitShares becomes more popular and more noticed in the scene, right? You're going to have a lot more people sitting on them. Whether they'll transfer them to you or not for a price, I suspect it's possible. I'll definitely help you with that part too, man. If I can help in any way, shape, or form. So please, if you have information where we can get in touch with them, you can give it to me during the after party, and we'll get all that stuff figured out. I don't know if that'll help. I don't know if it'll help any, but I'll try.
Yeah, because it's been probably damn near 2 weeks. So I mean, we rather not wait. So maybe this was a sign that we needed to just go with points with a Z. But I'll get that for you. Because and also to be honest, I mean, it really with the Z actually kind of gamifies it more. It's more like points sounds kind of more formal compared to points with the Z. Yeah. So maybe that's what we needed to hear. So that's funny that you say that. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Well, no, you're the one who said it. I just was thinking it ironically around the exact same time.
You just beat into my consciousness.
Well, some people believe that humans have this ability that we can kind of do stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe.
What do we
maybe
know?
It's just statistical, huh?
So what do we know?
Yeah. Apparently we know something now, but I will say this: you guys have the 15 minutes has ended. You don't have your points created yet, obviously. So there's no power ups today because there's no token creators who are passing out today. Who actually have tokens to pass out. However, I will gladly give out some tokens, some Beyond Bits to the people who attended today, based on the payouts that we received. So you guys can all look forward to a little share drop of Beyond Bits. And I thank you guys, and of course everybody. I thank you folks. Maybe I should say that since I'm in the Southern United States now. You folks, I appreciate y'all. Yeah.
Y'all, watch out, y'all.
For joining up every week. And I want to explain something really quickly to everybody, that organic real growth takes time. It comes in waves, and the cool thing now is, now that we're getting these types of things done, we can start really merging projects, and we can start networking, and we're seeing the building of things that will help us in a journey that we haven't quite seen the entire map on yet, right? As a matter of fact, I suspect we're going to unlock an entire new expansion set for this game that we're in. But I look forward to going through this with all of you and trying to help along the way as I can. And with that said, we'll see you guys all next week on Saturday. Our new new day, same time. But Saturdays, we hope that that'll be a little bit better time. And please reach out to Whales, and please reach out to those people in Steemit, and let everybody know what's going on with Whale Shares and Beyond Bits and how they help you. Because there are a lot of people on Steemit who tend to forget all the good things that we are doing with these tokens, and tend to spend all their time making really negative content about what we represent and what these tools actually are used for most often. Sure, there are people who will abuse any tool, but I want to make it clear that all of you are some of the best advocates for teaching people the value that these tokens bring. So please consider doing that. Please consider letting other whales know the good things about this, because I assure you they are hearing the bad ones. And also let them know that we've opened this up for them too, to potentially be able to join this hangout as a whale council member. And someday, if we do it right, if something happens to me, you guys still have the Whaletank, and it's a decentralized kind of thing. If we do it right, and that's what what I'm trying to do right now. We're trying to get that in line, and I actually think a lot of you guys have the potential to have a very big role in that. see you guys next week on Saturday. And let's go ahead and enjoy the after party.